Welcome back, casual gardeners. I was looking through my news feed just the other day, and I came across this term called Edimental gardening. And I thought to myself, what the heck is that? It sounds really stupid. And then I started reading about it, and it actually turns out it's kind of cool. I'm into it. I still don't like the name. What it is a combination of edible and ornamental. Together are edimental. The idea is that these are some plants that you can grow and get food value out of, but they look like ornamental plants. So if you're in an HOA and they don't allow gardens for some reason, because some HOAs are stupid, you can sneak in some edimental plants into your flower garden, which is usually allowed, and get away with it. Ha 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 ha. Or maybe you just want to do some gardening in your front yard and you're like, I'd like this to be pretty, please. As many successful gardeners will tell you, the best flower gardens actually combine flowers and foliage for season-long interest. So we're going to start with some foliage plants you can totally eat. Kale. I hate this stuff, but it's a really pretty plant. You got green leaves, bluish green leaves, and sometimes even red leaves on perfectly edible kale. So if you eat kale, or you would just like the option to eat kale in an emergency, plant that stuff in your flower garden. Swiss chard has brightly colored stems in reds and oranges and yellows, and the leaves themselves are a really lovely shade of emerald green. So you can grow Swiss chard ornamentally. I think it just looks stunning anywhere. Basil actually comes in different colors. You can get purple basil, and it is a stunningly purple plant that still delivers that sweet, sweet basil flavor for your Italian-inspired dishes. So you can squeeze some purple basil into your garden, and it will look amazing. Mustard greens and lettuce are both available in shades of red. I'm partial to, I've got some Merlot lettuce started right there, and it looks amazing. It's a beautiful plant. You can also find kind of half shades that are mottled or have really fun patterns in them. Fennel and carrots have beautiful lacy foliage. If you've ever looked out at your carrots and thought, you know, those are kind of pretty, you were not wrong. I 100% agree with you. You can grow fennel and carrots for some really nice textural variations in your foliage display. And an extra plus side is if you forget to harvest all your carrots, the next season you're going to have Queen Anne's lace in your flower garden. Strawberries, and especially wild type strawberries, are really great for a ground cover. A variation on the theme is you can get a plant called creeping raspberry. It actually is related to the raspberries that grow upright that we pick the beautiful red berries off of. Creeping raspberries tend to yield yellow tart fruits that are still pretty tasty. Their foliage is really beautiful. In the fall, it turns bright red. Lemongrass is only hardy as a perennial in zones 10 and up, but you can grow lemongrass as an annual in most climates. It is, it's grass. You can get that vertical element in your garden, and then you can eat the leaves. Vines rambling over a decorative structure can add a lot of charm to a garden. Many of them are also edible. Pole beans can have beautiful flowers, like scarlet runner beans will just have these bright red flowers, and the pods can be attractive as well. So it's just ornamentally, the whole thing is brilliant. Plus, you get beans. Passion flowers can be grown in USDA zone 5 and up. You will only get passion fruit in the warmer zones, but it is technically edible. Grapevines grown up in arbor are a popular and traditional edible climber. Chayote squash is a drought-tolerant perennial vining plant that is hardy in zones 7 and up. It is also really interesting in terms of being a conversation starter. Sweet potatoes can be trained up a trellis or allowed to ramble for ground cover purposes, so it can do double duty. It is the same species as the ornamental sweet potato that we grow, and the leaves look the same. Maybe you won't find ones with purple leaves that yield you the tubers that you want. It can be grown as an annual in most climates, but it's only hardy as a perennial in zones 8 and higher. Hops are hardy in zones 3 to 8. It's a climbing vine. The flowers are what we use as a popular bittering agent in beer. I think hops are actually a really pretty plant as well. Edible flowers may be the ultimate edimental choice because they are literally flowers you eat. Nasturtiums have edible flowers, edible leaves, and even edible seeds. They can be grown as annuals in most climates. In zones 9 and up, they are a perennial plant. I was super excited to get to see perennialized nasturtiums when I visited San Francisco last year. Borage has edible leaves and flowers, and I hear they taste a lot like cucumber. I still need to try growing borage. It's also an excellent pollinator flower. This one shocked me. Every part of a daylily is edible. You can eat the flowers, you can eat the young shoots of the leaves, you can even eat daylily tubers. So the more daylilies you have, the more emergency food you have in your garden. Rose petals and rose hips can be used in jams and teas and desserts. Elderberry flowers and berries can be used in syrups and wines and jams. Calendula flowers can be added to salads or enjoyed as parts of a cooked meal. Pansies and violas are technically edible, but they taste like grass. But if you're looking for an excuse, there you go. Technically edible. Thyme is just absolutely stunning in a garden. We eat the leaves, but the flowers are really nice and do a lot of good for pollinators. Members of the mint family, in pots, please, can add a lot of vertical interest to your garden and a lot of food interest to your food. They can be invasive, so please keep them in a pot unless you want to devote a large area of your garden to your mint. Lavender is hardy to zone 5 and its flowers are edible. Sunflowers have edible seeds and you can grow them as annuals in most climates. That shouldn't have been a shock to you. Amaranth has edible leaves and seeds. So you get a grain out of it and salad greens. And it looks really good. So that was almost 30 edimental plant ideas just to get you started. There are a lot more we could have covered, but this is already a list video, and list videos get boring if they're too long. Some of these are going to need special care if you include them in a flower garden. For instance, kale and lettuce and mustard greens, for all that they are attractive, are going to need a little bit more nitrogen fertilizer and a little bit more water if they're going to be combined into a regular flower planting. But if you meet their needs in a garden, they can just go right out into your flower garden and yield food as well as beauty. There are so many edimentals out there that no way could I include them all. I would love it if you did me and the other viewers of this video a solid and included your favorite edimentals I may have missed down in the comments. I'd like to thank everyone who likes and subscribes to my videos and my channel. And I'd like to give a special shout out to Magnaman Ben. Hey there! He is the very first channel member of this channel. If you want to be cool, like Magnaman Ben, and few people are cooler, you should consider becoming a channel member. That will also give me more time to make more of these videos if you like them. Thank you so much for joining me here in my garden today, and I hope you all have a wonderful time in your own. Thank you.